Hello, I'm now going to record Daf Nun Beis Amud Aleph. Just to remind you, there's a mitzvah saseh deraisa that your animal should rest, l'man yanuach sharcha v'chamerecha, which means that your animal also shouldn't be carrying something which is called carrying. Anything that the animal carries which is for shmira, it's protective of the animal, is not called carrying. We had a discussion yesterday or in our last shiur, whether, let's say, an animal could be protected with a lesser form and you use a greater form of protection. Is that extra protection considered a masui? Is it considered carrying or not? It was machloikis. One issue was, let's say you had a regular camel, which can be controlled with an afsar, with a leash, yet you put it in a chatam, you put it in a nose ring. So Chananya, Shmuel Paskin like Chananya, that if you have a cat which can be controlled with a string and instead you have a leash, it's not considered carrying because Netirusa, Yeseirasa, additional protection, is not called a Masui. So let's begin in Beis Amud Aleph, the fourth line from the top. Tanat Bei Menashia, there was a brisa taught in the Beis Medrash of Menashia. Eis shechakak lo ben karneha. If you have a goat that you made a hole in a horn, yoitza ba'afsar b'Shabbos. You're allowed to put a leash through the hole in the horn because it's not going to come loose, it's not going to come out, and it's meant for the shmira, for the protection of the goat. That's how you control it. It shouldn't get lost or hurt. But boy Rav Yosef wanted to know tachav lo be'zikana mahu. What if you braid the beard of the goat and then you put a leash through the braid? Is that okay or not? Mahu, what is the din? Kevan de imenatach lo koev lo. If the goat would try to rip it loose, it would be in pain. So therefore it's not going to rip it loose, and therefore it's okay. It's not going to tear it loose. Or perhaps zimnin durafi v'nafel v'asi latuye arbamas peshus rabim. Sometimes a knot and a hair can come out by itself. So if the knot and the hair comes out by itself, the one who's trying to control that goat, B'Rishus Harabim, may end up holding the leash in his hand, and he'll come to carry Arbamas B'Rishus Harabim, and Teiku, the Gemara is not sure of the answer. Tanan Hasam, there's a Mishnah coming up soon in Daf Nun Dalid, V'loi Bertzua Shebein Karneha, that a cow can't walk out with a strap between its horns. Omer Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba says that this strap between the horns of the cow, Pligi bar Rav Shmuel, there's a dispute between Rav Shmuel. Chadam, or one says, Bein lenoi, and Bein leshamer is osir. Whether the strap is decorative or it's functional, it serves as a way to control and protect the cow. In both ways, it's osir. I'll explain in a second. The Chadam, or the other one says, no, lenoi is osir. If it's decorative, it's osir. But l'shamer, if it's functional, in order to protect the cow, it's mutter. Now, as far as decorative, there's a machlokes Rashi and Tosfos. Tosfos holds that decorative items are always not functional, and therefore they're always a masui. Rashi says that the decorative items are not a masui, it would be okay, except that a strap between the horns of a cow is not so decorative. So in any case, in this particular case, the strap in the horns of the cow, if it's decorative, for sure it's usher, either because decorative is never allowed, or in this case, decorative is not allowed. What's the issue regarding functional? Because a cow, generally, you can control without a strap, without a leash. So now that you have the leash, the first one says that it's usher, because he holds that overprotection is considered a masui, and the second one says l'shamer is mutter, because if it's protective and functional, it's mutter, even though it's overprotection, you don't really need it, but it's still okay. Amar Rav Yosef, sir, Rav Yosef says, Tistayim, I want to prove to you, the Shmuel hu da Amar l'noi aser l'shamer mutter, that in the dispute of Rav Shmuel is the one that says that if it's functional, it's mutter, even though it's overprotective, it's still allowed, because just yesterday we learned Amar Rav Huna bar Chia, Amar Shmuel halacha k'Chananya. Because Rav Huna bar Chia said in the name of Shmuel that to have a leash on a cat, even though for a cat a string is good enough, Hananya said a leash on a cat is okay, even though it's overprotection, but overprotection is still functional, and it's not considered a masui. And Shmuel paskin like that. So probably Shmuel is the one who said that the strap between the horns of the cow, even though it's overprotective, but as long as it's functional, it's not considered a masui. Amalei Abaya asks his Rebbe Rav Yosef Adarab, I think au contraire. Tistayim, I might prove to you the Shmuel Da'amar Bein L'Noy Bein L'Shamer Aser, that the strap on the cow, whether it's decorative or functional, it's aser, even if it's functional, because it's overprotection. And Shmuel will hold that overprotection is aser. Domer Rav Yudam Shmuel, because Rav Yudah said in the name of Shmuel, Machlifin Lifnei Rebbe Shel Zu Bezu. Remember we had this yesterday. A regular camel uses a leash. A female or a white camel or a tough camel uses a nose ring. So they wanted to know, what if you reverse it? Shel Zu Bezu. And of course, to take the stronger camel with a leash for sure is aser, because there you can't protect it that way, so it's useless. But the question is, what about the chatam, the nose ring on the more calm camel? If it's overprotective, what's the din? So now, Amar lefan of Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, so Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi said, Kach Amar Abba, my father Rabbi Yosi said, Arba hemas yotzais ba'afsar. There's 4 animals that use a leash. Hasus, a horse, a parrot, a mule, a gumel, a camel, a chamor, a donkey. Is lav, would you not say, limaute gumel b'chatam? Then a camel uses a leash, but not a nose ring. So you see, the Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi said it to Rebbe, and who repeated the conversation? Shmuel, that a camel uses a leash, but not a chatam, because a nose ring is overprotective, and overprotective is a masui. Well, now we ended up with a contradiction. On one hand, Shmuel paskin like Hananya, that a leash on a cat which is overprotective is okay. Yet here it seems that Shmuel is repeating the conversation between Rebbe and Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, that a chatam, a nose ring for a camel which is overprotective, is aser. More says Sami Homi Kamiho. Erase the second discussion in the name of Shmuel. Erase the second discussion because of the first one. We're going to go with the first one, that Shmuel paskin like Hananya, that overprotection is not considered a masui. Imai chozes the mesam is homi kamiho, sami homi kamiho. How do you know which statement of Shmuel is the valid one? Is it the one where he paskins like Hananya, that a leash on a cat which is overprotective is fine? Or how do you know maybe the other one where a nose ring on a camel which is overprotective is aser? How do you know which of the statements to erase? The answer is the Ashkechan Shmuel the Amar L'Noy Aser and L'Shamer Muter, because I have a clear indication that Shmuel holds that decorative things on an animal or on a cow is Aser, but protective, even if it's overprotective, is okay. The Itmer, because it was said, Rav Chia Bar Ashi Amar Rav, in the name of Rav, Bein L'Noy, Bein L'Shamer is Aser. A cow can't wear a strap either for decorative purposes, and I'm repeating, either because all decorative things are Aser, or a cow doesn't need a decorative strap, but Rav also says that for protective purposes it's also aser, because Rav holds that overprotection is called a masui. Rav Chia bar Rav and Amar Shmuel that l'noy aser l'shamer muter, and here Shmuel is quoted that if it's decorative it's aser, but if it's functional and protective, even though it's overprotective, it's muter. So it's clear that this is the preferred girsa, that Shmuel holds that overprotection is okay. And that's why he passes like Hananya, that the leash on the cat is okay, and forget him. And therefore, a cow with a strap, if it's for decorative purposes, it's aser, but for protective purposes, it's okay. Meisvei Sigmar has a kash on Rav. Rav says that it's always aser, whether it's decorative or functional. If it's aser, there's a brisa regarding a para aduma. Kishara ba'aleh b'maiseira. If the owner has a leash, kisheira, a leash on the para aduma is kosher. V'isal kedatech, if you'll tell me that on a cow, having a leash is overprotective, and maslihu, and according to Rav, that's considered carrying, then asher lo'olo leo oilam rachmana. The Torah says that the cow was never allowed to have a yoke, was never allowed to carry anything, or never do any work. So how can you have a leash on a cow? So there's 3 answers. Amar Abai says, b'meilicha mi'ir li'ir, when you're taking the cow from one city to the other, so the cow gets nervous because it's not in a familiar surrounding, so then a leash is okay. Then the leash is not overprotective, it's proper. Rav Amar Shani Para de Damer Yikarim. Rav says the Para Adum is very valuable. So having a leash on it is not overprotective. And Ravina says, b'moiredis, it's a wild paraduma. So wild paraduma, a leash is not overprotected. So far, we have a discussion. It seems that decorative is usr, so it seems. And for protection, if it's for protection, for sure it's okay. If it's overprotection, we have a dispute. We learned in the Mishnah that the sus, a horse, can go out b'sher with a collar. And then the Mishnah said all animals that wear collars can go out with a collar and can be nimshachim, yotzim b'sher, and nimshachim b'sher. They go out with a collar, and they can be controlled with their collar. Ma yotzin and ma nimshachim. What did the Mishnah mean when it says they go out with a collar and can be controlled with a collar? Amar Ravuna, so Ravuna now has a lenient opinion, which contradicts what we said before. Either they can have a collar wrapped around its neck for decorative purposes, or it can be tied around its neck in a way that it can be controlled. I just want to add something. In order to be controlled, this collar has to be a little bit loose, that if the animal starts getting away, you can stick your hand in between the collar and the neck and grab it and control it. But anyway, so Rav Huna says either yotzin, either it can go out with the collar wrapped around its neck for decorative purposes, or nimshachin, or just as well, if it's a little bit looser and it can be used, it's functional to control it. On the other hand, Shmuel disagrees with Rav Huna, and he says yotzin nimshachin. It can only have a collar if it can be controlled, if it's functional, and yotzin kruchen, not if it's merely wrapped around its neck, which is merely decorative. The Masnisa Tana in a Braisa seems to concur with Shmuel, yotzin, that they go out kruchen limashech. The animal can go out with a collar wrapped around its neck so that it can be controlled, which means that the collar has to be functional and not merely decorative. But according to Rashi, it would seem that Rav Huna didn't know this Braisa. Amar Rav Yosef says, Chazina luhu leigle debei Rav Huna. I saw the calves by Rav Huna. Rav Huna, remember the name? Yotzin b'afsareim kruchen b'Shabbos. They went out with collars wrapped around their neck on Shabbos just for decorative purposes, wrapped for decoration. Well, that's Rav Huna's opinion. Rav Huna held that an animal is allowed to have this collar, whether it's functional and even if it's only decorative. Now we have a bit of a discussion. Kiyasar Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Amar Rav Chanina, he quoted Rav Chanina that mula'oi shall base Rebbe yotzais b'afsareim b'Shabbos. Mules from Rebbe's household would go out with collars on Shabbos. Okay, so Rebbe's mules had collars. But Iboilu, the Gemara wants to know, Kruchen, Einim Shochin, were the collars merely decorative? Because Rebbe would hold, like Rav Huna's opinion, that decorative is good enough, or does it have to be functional? There's room in the collar to grab it in order to control it. Well, your question is going to be resolved. Tashema, come and listen. Yasser Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, when Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda came from Israel, Amar Rabbi Chanina, he said in the name of Rav Chanina, Mula'is shall base Rebbe, that the mules of Rebbe's house, Yoitzais b'afsareim kruchen b'Shabbos. They would go out with the collars that were wrapped around their neck on Shabbos. So Rebbe held that even decorative is good enough, like Rav Huna. So Amru Rabbanan Kamei de Ravasi. So the Rabbanan repeated this conversation to Ravasi. What's the conversation again? Rav Dimi, step A, said that Rebbe's mules went out with collars. The Gemara wanted to know whether it was functional or even merely decorative, and Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda told us that it was merely decorative. So the Rabbanan repeated this whole conversation to Ravasi. So he said, so they said, Had Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda leitzricha. We did not need Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda to tell us that Rebbe's mules wearing collars was merely decorative. It's obvious. Why? Midir Rav Dimi nafka. When Rav Dimi came to tell us that Rebbe's mules had collars, that in itself could have and should have taught us that it was merely decorative. Why? Because these al kedatach the Rav Dimi nimshachin kamar. Because if it would enter your mind that Rav Dimi, when he came from Israel, told us that Rebbe's mules had collars, but they had to be functional, then mid Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel nafka. I could have known that from Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel. Let me explain. Because Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel, we already learned this for the third time. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, Machlifin hayu lifnei Rebbe shal zu bezu mahu. The question was asked, in front of Rebbe, if you have a camel that can use a leash, but you have, let's say, a certain strong camel that needs a nose ring, can you flip them? So it's obvious that the strong camel, you can't just put a leash on it, because you won't control it. So that's for sure a masli. But the question was, can you take a nose ring and have it on a regular camel, because that's overprotective? So what's the din? Amar lefanav Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi. You remember? Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi told Rabbi, Kach Amar Abba, my father Rabbi Yosi said, Arba behemas yotzes ba'afsar, that there's 4 animals that go out with a leash: a sus, a horse, a parrot, a mule, hagomol, a camel, a chamor, and a donkey. So it said here the mule. So Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi said in the name of his father that his father said that a mule can go out with a leash, and Rebbe heard it. I'm assuming that if Rebbe heard it, he must have agreed with it. I'm assuming. So Rebbe held that a mule can go out with a leash. Certainly, if he can go out with a leash, he certainly can go out with a leash which is functional. So if Rav Dimi came to tell us that Rebbe's mules went out with leashes, what was Rav Dimi telling us? I already knew that. I knew that there had been a discussion between Rebbe and Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi, and Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi said that a mule can go out with a leash, and Rebbe heard it, so Rebbe must have agreed. So I know that Rebbe's mules would go out with a leash. So what would Rav Dimi be teaching me? If not, that Rebbe's mules can go out with a leash even if they're merely decorative. Because that Rebbe allows mules to go out with a leash, we knew that because he had that conversation with Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi. So therefore it's redundant, it's unnecessary for Rabbi Yehuda Mar Shmuel to tell us that Rebbe's mules' leashes were decorative. Of course they were decorative. If they weren't decorative, what would Rav Dimi have been teaching us? Amalu Ravasi, so Ravasi responded, no, it's not so fast. We need everybody's statement. Because Imid Rav Yehuda Nafka, if you wanted to prove it from Rav Yehuda, I'm not convinced. Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi quoted his father that a mule can go out with a leash. Hava mina, I might have said, Omar Lefana of Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi might have said it to Rebbe, V'loi kibla mina, maybe Rebbe didn't accept it. Maybe, who says just because he was there, he agreed to what Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi said. Kamashma under Rav Dimi, so Rav Dimi had to come and tell us the Rebbe accepted Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi's statement, and Rebbe's mules would go out with a leash. But Vida Rav Dimi, but now that all I know is that Rebbe allows mules to go with a leash, Hava mina hani milinim shochin. But I would think if the leash only is functional, only then it's allowed. Avul kruchen, but if it's merely wrapped around the neck to be decorative, loy not. Is Kamash Blunder Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda. Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda had to come and tell us the Rebbe's mules went out with a decorative leash, even though it wasn't even functional. So it's a 3-step. Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi says that there are 4 animals that have a leash. One of them is a mule. Rebbe heard that, but I'm not sure if Rebbe agreed. Rav Dimi comes to tell us that Rebbe's mules went out with leashes. So first of all, he agrees with Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yosi, but I still don't know whether it's functional or even merely decorative. And Rav Yehuda Mar Shmuel says that they went out with their leashes kruchen, even if it's only decorative. Umazen aleim v'toivlon b'mkaiman. And you can spray on those leashes, on those rings around the neck, if it was tamei mace, and you can toivel them as the animal goes into a river or wherever. You can toivel it even when it's on the neck of the animal. L'meimer, do you mean to say the bnei kabuli tumeninu? Do you mean to say that this ring around the neck or this collar around the neck can be makabel tumah? But tonight we learned the Mishnah and Kalim tabas adam tameya. A ring that a person uses is a tashmish for a person. It's makabel tumah. But tabas behema v'kalim v'shar kol hatabois, or rings, like rings around the neck of an animal, or rings, let's say, on a handle of a utensil, or other rings like a ring on a door, are tahayros, because those rings that are functional for animals or utensils are not makabel tumah. Rabbi Yitzchak says, "Beboin b'noi adam l'noi behema." It's speaking where this ring or collar had once been a person's ornament, but now they're using it on the animal. So as a person's ornament, it was makabel tumah. And now that they switched it and put it on the animal, it doesn't lose its capacity for tumah, or it doesn't lose the tumah that it had. Rav Yosef has another answer, and he says, since it's functional, this ring, so a person uses it to control the animal, so the person has benefit from it. So the ring around the collar, pardon the pun, that's on the animal's collar, is one that the person uses to control the animal. So therefore it's considered a tachshud l'adam and not a tachshud l'behema. Rabbi Yosef proves his point, Miloitanya makol shel behema shel matechas mekabel tumah. an animal used on a stick, if it's made of metal, is mekabel tumah, matam, because adam roideben, because a person controls the animal with it. So although he's controlling an animal, but a person has the benefit from it. It's the man who's using it, and therefore it's mekabel tumah. Is Achanami the same thing regarding the collar or the ring around the neck of the animal? And since a person can control the animal with it, it's considered a ring which is a tashmish adam, and therefore it's mekabel tumah. So I'm going to upload this, and Mirat Hashem, then I'll do part 2.